Why do CEOs keep promoting people who are calm and well spoken but don't actually deliver? Well, it's because most senior people can't verify your delivery. They can only verify your composure. And that's the honest answer. Results take months to prove. A calm reaction to a crisis takes 4 seconds to notice, and it gets remembered a lot longer than the quarter did. So don't just do good work quietly and wait. Let someone senior actually watch you handle something going wrong on purpose and manage it well. That's the evidence that gets you promoted, not the project you finished last quarter that nobody was in the room for. I know that sounds a bit cynical. It is a tiny bit. It's also just how the maths works out in most rooms I've sat in. Welcome back. Today I'm going through questions handpicked by myself that all of you have submitted in. So let's get into it. How do I survive a toxic job and a broken system when I genuinely can't afford to walk away right now? Well, you don't survive it by enduring quietly. That's not a strategy, that's just absorbing damage and hoping it ends. Here's what you do. There's three parts to it, which I call the three front survival play. One, document everything. Dates, decisions, who said what, not for HR's benefit, but for yours. Two, build one real ally inside the building, not the whole office, one person who sees what you see. Three, keep one conversation a month running with someone outside of your company. Not because you're leaving today, because the moment you have options, everything inside gets a little easier to tolerate, including the bits you can't fix. You don't need to love the job to survive it. You need evidence and an exit that isn't emotional. Quick one before we carry on. If you've ever had a job quietly triple in scope without your title or your pay moving an inch, drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to hear it. When women are assertive about their worth, they get called bossy or worse. What actually works instead? All right, I'll say the honest bit first. The double standard is actually real, and nothing I'm about to say fixes the unfairness of it. The room needs to change, not you. But while you're waiting for the room to change, two things tend to land differently. Swap statements for framed questions. This needs to happen invites a fight. What's stopping us to do this by Friday puts the burden of justifying the delay on them, not you. Attach the ask for the business case out loud every time. Not, I deserve this, but this protects the roadmap. People argue with someone's belief they deserve it. They rarely argue with facts and deadlines. It's not fair that you need the technique, but it's still worth having it. Question 4. If AI keeps automating analysis and knowledge work, which skills actually stay indispensable? This is a good question. Most of what you're trained to be good at, analysis, drafting, summarizing, is being commoditized right now while you watch. What doesn't automate? Being the person who puts their name on the decision when the model can't be blamed for it afterwards. AI can hand you 5 options. It can't own the fifth one when it turns out to be wrong. And that's the whole job right now. Judgment under uncertainty, with your name attached to it. Everything else is just a tool. Question 5, last one. How do you get raised when the whole company keeps saying there's no budget? Okay, so no budget almost always means no budget for the version of you they currently see. Companies find money all the time for the hire they're scared to lose, for the counteroffer the week someone resigns, for the person who suddenly looks impossible to replace. The money isn't gone. It has someone else's name on it because they made a stronger case than you did. So stop arguing about whether the budget exists. Change what you're asking them to fund. Don't ask to be paid more for the same job. Show them the job quietly got bigger, what you own now that you didn't a year ago. What breaks when you're off for a week, what it actually costs in time and risk to hand your seat to someone new. And if the cash is genuinely locked, and sometimes it is, take the raise in a different currency. A title, a scope, a budget line of your own, flexibility, benefits. Every one of those is worth money later, and none of them touches this year's frozen pot. The line to say out loud: I hear the budget's tight, so tell me what isn't, because my responsibility keeps growing and I'm not planning to stay flat while they do. So that's it. 5 questions, real situations from you. Hopefully, some of that was useful. If any of them hit home, drop your own version in the comments or use the link below to submit a question for the next episode. I read all of them. The best ones get answered in the next round. And if you want to know exactly where you're stuck in your career and what to do about it, head over to ovdlab.com. It's my free diagnostic assessment. It takes about 5 minutes and it'll tell you exactly where to focus. I'll see you in the next one.